Hi everyone, welcome to my first video participating in James' midweek chat. He's been doing this for a while. He basically picks a topic to discuss and people make video responses to it on Wednesdays, and I watched his video yesterday and wanted to respond. I've seen a few of his and I've seen a few of the responses from Claire and what have you, but I thought I would participate in this one just for a change. He went through basically a whole bunch of top fives, lots and lots of top fives. Favorite actresses, actors, directors, genres, you know, and went through television shows and comic books and what have you. So I didn't do top five lists for all these categories because there's a bunch of them. But I thought I'd do like the people lists right here. Your 5 favorite actors, well, you know, that's tough. You know, there's a lot of favorite actors of mine. And my number 5 position, I was fighting over, trying to decide between Robert Downey Jr. and Morgan Freeman. I just couldn't decide, so I thought, heck with it, I'm just going to do 4 right here. 4 guys who, not only good actors, but just have very, very strong personalities and are like the kinds of people I know I'm going to enjoy watching no matter what kind of character they're playing. And that would be Kevin Spacey, Sam Rockwell, Samuel Jackson, and Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum just has this funny personality, this great way of talking. They all have great ways of talking, basically, which is one of the reasons why they're so interesting. I was kind of disappointed in Samuel Jackson, The Adventures, because he didn't get a lot of good Samuel Jackson moments. He had like 1 or 2 of them, but he's always a fun guy to see. And of course Spacey and Rockwell, they're just awesome, just really funny, very, very on the ball. There's lots of guys I could put in this category. And there are plenty of actors who I've liked in lots of their movies here and there, so it'd be impossible to make it a definitive top 5 of actors. Directors is easier. Directors is a lot easier for me. There are plenty that I like, but a few that I just hold above everyone else. David Fincher, Steven Soderbergh, Martin Scorsese, that was one of James's picks. Joss Whedon's only made 2 movies, but he's directed lots of episodes of his TV shows, and he's a terrific director. So anything he does, I'm very keen on. And James also mentioned Spielberg, a classic choice, and I would pick him as well, although I haven't liked many of his recent movies nearly as much as the stuff that he did back in the 80s and early 90s. You know, he's still, you know, it's hard to ignore. There are a lot of other directors that I've liked, particularly because of particular films that they've done, and some who I just like in general, but those are like, you know, my go-to guys. I'll see anything by those guys. Very disappointed that Soderbergh isn't making theatrical movies anymore, but I guess, you know, he did what he had to do. Now, actresses is tougher. You know, the actresses that appeal to me basically fall into 2 categories. The actresses who I think are really good at acting, and I like seeing them play characters and I like seeing them perform, and actresses I just think are very attractive, and I'll watch them just because I like looking at them. So it was really tough for me to narrow it down. I decided to do is, what I do is I'd pick 1 actress from each age group. And there's this option on the Internet Movie Database whereby you can enter in a birth date. Search for an actress born between August 16th, 19 whatever to August 16th whatever. So I just covered like the entire decade and went through the actresses that came up in that search. Now, for people who were born between 83 and 93, I guess, my top pick would probably be Jennifer Lawrence, even though I don't love all of her performances. There are a few that I think are great. She just has one of those very strong personalities, and she has a great sense of humor. They should make a movie that consists entirely of clips of her from talk shows and from interviews because she's so funny. She's just hilarious. I also sort of lump Ellen Page and Emma Stone into that same group because the 3 of them, they're great comedians. They're very, very funny. They have really strong personalities and really strong voices, especially. They don't have soft voices or anything like that. You know, they're not. You know, they're just very bold, and I really like that a lot. For the 30s age group, I went through the list on there. There are a bunch of actresses I like in there. Of course, I've always, you know, had a thing for Reese Witherspoon, even though she's made tons of bad movies. And not all of her, I wouldn't necessarily say that she's the best actress out of the group, but, you know, I mean, I just think she's really cool. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to justify exactly why she's such a favorite of mine, but a couple other actresses I noticed on that list were Elizabeth Moss from Mad Men and Michelle Monaghan, who has been really good in a couple of movies. She was in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Downey. She was in Mission Impossible 3. She's been in a bunch of good stuff, and she's just another one of those really sort of strong personalities, really sort of witty, and just great at what she does. She's good in any role that she plays. For the actresses in their 40s, that was kind of tough. There were a whole bunch of good options there, but as soon as I saw Carla Gugino's name, I thought, yes, definitely her. Another very strong personality, another really good comedian, and beautiful, just a gorgeous woman. There's 3 movies that she made with a director named Sebastian Gutierrez. They're very, very low budget sort of comedy dramas. One of them actually got released to YouTube before it went to video. But she's in all 3 of them. She's really, really good. She's been good in a bunch of movies. She's been in several Robert Rodriguez movies as well. Just an all-around. She was actually the star of a television show on Karen Sisco, the Elmore Leonard character that Jennifer Lopez played in Out of Sight. She was playing that character for a TV series. It didn't last very long, which is a shame because that would have been great. For actresses in their 50s, I picked Helen Hunt. There are a whole bunch of really good actresses, but I really like, again, Helen Hunt's personality. I love listening to her voice, the way she speaks. She's got a very distinctive voice. The first movie I ever saw her in was Project X with Matthew Broderick in the 80s. And I've really liked her ever since then. As good as it gets, she won Best Actress for that at the Oscars. I couldn't be more happy because I just loved her. She's great. And for actresses in their 60s and older, Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon is a woman who's just incredible. Again, a really great voice. Love listening to her. She's a terrific actress. Liked her in so many things. So that would be my list right there. I sort of tried to evenly divide, evenly spread the love over all the different age groups. I'm not going to go through all these categories because James did a bunch of them, but one category they said that he had here was repeat reads, books that he likes reading again and again. And the first books that I have to mention, of course, the Douglas Adams books, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and he wrote two Dirk Gently books, who's sort of like a private eye in England. He died in 2001, the writer Douglas Adams did, but they got to at least make one movie out of his films. But those are books that I have read many times and really enjoyed them. I actually read all the Harry Potter books this year, but I probably only end up reading each of those just the one time. I enjoyed them, but you know, it's a big, long series, and I figured once is enough for each of them. There's a book called Slow Motion by Danielle Shapiro. She was an actress for a while, I guess, but wasn't very successful. And she wrote a couple of novels after she got done with that period in her life. And then she did a memoir, basically, about the sort of most troubled period in her life. I've read it like 3 times. It's really, really good. I've liked a couple of her novels. One of them was called Fugitive Blue, but that's definitely, the Slow Motion is the one that I like the best. Funny, one of the books on James' list was actually a novelization of a movie where they take the screenplay and they basically turn it into a paperback. And I have a favorite there too, and that's the Natural Born Killers novelization. There are a lot of deleted scenes from the movie that wound up in the book, and plus a lot of extra stuff. Just a really, really fun read. You know, there's a wide variety of stuff. It changes perspective a lot. In that sense, it's sort of like Bram Stoker's Dracula. The novel Dracula, written by Bram Stoker, is all told from the perspective of different people. And Natural Born Killers, the paperback, is kind of like that. If you can get your hands on a copy, it's a fun read, especially if you are a fan of the movie. So that's going to be it for my list. There's a couple other questions that James asked, and that is sort of more general questions. What is YouTube to me, and what are my YouTube goals? Well, Claire actually had a question like that kind of on her contest, which was a couple of months ago. She asked, you know, how did you get started on YouTube? And for me, you know, I don't necessarily have YouTube goals, but it was just a means of expressing myself and maybe sort of aping other people's videos at some point. You know, there were a couple of times in which I really wanted to do certain type of comedy videos and maybe character videos, but I never ended up doing it really. There's something kind of like that, similar to that, that I was thinking about doing later this year. I've been sort of wrapped up in this 1973 series the whole year, and I think for those of you who've been keeping up with it, you may be wondering why I haven't made any of those videos in several weeks. I mean, it has been a number of weeks, probably 2 months or so since I did a 73 video, and that is just because I got a little tired of doing the research on each of them. I'm going to do more. You know, I'm not quitting. I've been watching 73 movies that people have recommended to me, and I'm going to be making videos on them, but I've just kind of been putting them off because unlike most of the current movies I review, I have to do a lot of research for those. They came out the year I was born, so I wasn't paying attention to what was happening then as far as film goes and popular culture. So I have to look up the names of directors and what they did and actors who I'm not familiar with, and it just takes a little bit more effort, and I'm lazy about that kind of thing. You know, I just like to be able to talk off the top of my head, and I get a lot of facts wrong sometimes when it comes to the older stuff. But I've been enjoying them so far, and I still want to do them. I wouldn't say that it's a goal, but I was planning on doing like 2 movies per week, and it's going to only end up being about 60 movies in total, just because I've been falling behind. I didn't watch any of those films this week, and I took a break a few weeks back to get caught up on House of Cards, which is the Kevin Spacey Netflix series that came out on Netflix earlier this year. They finally got the discs out, so I wanted to watch them. But next year I wanted to do something different. I've done director series, and I like doing those, so I might do a couple more of them, but I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing next year as far as YouTube goes. I know I'm going to be finishing my 73 series by the end of the year and doing like a best of that year at some point. But I don't really have any goals as far as subscription counts or view counts or anything like that. James was talking about how he wanted to be a staple of the community and how he wanted to be well-liked and well-regarded by people in the, who are movie fans on YouTube. And I like being thought of that way as well. I try not to strive for huge subscriber counts. I feel like it's more important to make personal connections. But at the same time, I would love to have some of my videos get widely viewed, by thousands of people. I've had a couple of videos actually get past 1,000 views, but they were sort of novelty videos, not like any of the stuff I regularly do. I did a book review on a Nicholas Sparks novel that got more views than any movie review I've ever done, which is a little odd. But it came out about a year before the movie did, so I gathered that the views accumulated over that time. Well, the other question, what is YouTube to me? Yeah, like I said, it just, I don't hang out with a lot of movie fans, IRL. I go to see the movies by myself a lot of the time. So, again, it's, I like hearing about what people like, and there are a few guys whose opinion I really value. And I like to be able to, express how I feel about film and the stuff that appeals to me and what works for me and what does not. And what, I'm sort of influenced by, and people respond to that. They leave comments, and I enjoy reading about that stuff. And sometimes people don't agree with me, and I'm a little disappointed when that happens, but that's life, you got to sort of live with that. So again, it's like I don't have any real specific goals as far as meeting any kind of view count or anything like that, I keep hearing about YouTube gatherings. It would be nice to have one in Chicago, but I never know when they're happening. I suppose if I did just a simple Google search, that would help. But yeah, they always seem to take place in England or California or someplace like that. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is there. Yeah, that's my response to James's video this week. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it, and I'm looking forward to seeing more responses on this topic. So thanks again, James, and I'll see you all again real soon with hopefully a few videos on 1973 movies, as I promised. Later.